it doesn't work. And we're all here thinking, you know, ads do work, but the delivery mechanism, the creative is so fantastic. And then brands are forced to deliver it through Facebook and Google and these really broken ecosystems. So if we can enable these brilliant creators and brilliant ads now to deliver it directly to Jules on your terms, and the money's going to you and making impact. I mean, I'm completely obsessed now in how we change that delivery mechanism, and in the process enable lots of good to happen in the world. Because if we think about, you know, $550 billion, if we're able to put that money back into the pockets of the people and causes, then we can
that's life-changing, absolutely life-changing, country-changing, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So let's go on a little bit into We Are 8. So you've had this idea, you were completely fed up with SMI and with SMI, but from that, seeing what was going on with the ad spend. So why did you suddenly think We Are 8? Why is it called We Are 8? And how did that all unravel? Or ravel up, whatever the word is.
Been a journey.
What was the journey like?
It's been a journey, Jules, because it started, as I was looking at Facebook and the social platforms, I was very disturbed, 7 years ago about the misuse of data and all of that. But we started off as a social network, but then we quickly realized that's a mistake. No one needs another social network.
Right. Yeah.
And that's when we realized what is sticky and what people do want is to be empowered. They want economic empowerment. They want to be valued. And that's when we changed our product. So we invested a lot. We had to then completely change our product.
Well, let's just stop there for a minute. And tell me, what was that like? What is it like when you suddenly realize, you're, I don't know, maybe a couple of years down the track, hang on, our model's wrong. We're going to have to change everything.
Yeah.
Were you devastated? Did you think this is it? What am I going to do?
Yes.
Or were you just kind of like, no, I know what I'm going to do?
Look, when you're raising money, I'd been through the stages of raising money and building that because I bootstrapped SMI in the beginning and then raised institutional money, and then there are times when it just doesn't go as planned and it takes too long and everyone gets frustrated, and then it does, and then so it's it's never a straight line, and you're always on edge anyway. With 8, we knew the end goal, so we knew we knew the media ecosystem was broken, distribution ecosystem. We knew we wanted to give people the power. But the way we did it with a social network was wrong. So I think it was a very strong belief that the end goal was right, but the way we executed that first piece was wrong. And
so you hadn't lost your passion for what it was you were trying to achieve. So it was just a case of, okay, well, we're just going to have to pivot using that hideous word.
I know, it is hideous, but it's very true.
It's very true. Yeah.
You've got to... Every single business that's successful has pivoted one or multiple times, even the big ones that, we see, and they've all had failures along the way as well. And I think it's the ability to say, that's not working that way. Let's draw the line. Let's shrink as even though that's really tough because you have to let everything go. We went back to, a core of 4 people and had to rethink it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, rethink it, raise more funding, and then grow again and build out. And now we've tested our current product with 1 million people here in the US. We tested it with 20 brands really successfully, and now we're scaling in a big way with a mobile operator that we haven't announced yet, but it's a big UK mobile operator.
Huge.
And so, but
oh, good.
But
And what about Australia? Are we going to get somebody behind it here to push it out, or are we going to do that through She's the Boss?
No. Yes, Jules, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, let's go. I'll just tell the whole of the country now.
So yes, we'll talk about that offline, because I think the goal in the UK is to scale very quickly from January. We've got to a mission to get to 5 million people in the UK by January next year, by June next year, and then it's taking it
Wow.
global. I think people are ready.
Yeah,
People are
fantastic.
ready
Oh,
for
we are.
this now.
Uh,
So
I 100% agree. And really, for you to have spent 10 years building this in some ways makes it even more perfect now because, you know, we don't want to say COVID has been a blessing, but it has in some ways.
yeah,
And one of the
yeah,
ways is that people are completely fed up
yeah,
with these big organizations trying to run our lives, I think.
yeah, and you know, it's not okay anymore, and not just the economics. I mean, the economics for sure, but the impact. I mean, we've got climate issues, and yet, you know, we've got
Big ones.
big ones. And, you know, there's 800 million people on the planet that can't access fresh water. There's 3.5 million children in the UK now that cannot access food. Marcus Rashford, a big football player, Man United player, it's his big thing to end child food poverty that we're really wanting to support. And, you know, 50 million people in the US, Jules, can't access food right now. So we need women. We need women
Yes.
with compassion and innovation to help navigate the future. We're living in a we're living with Facebook and all the technology platforms constructed by men. So there's no balance in the world that we live in. Now it's time to live in to live in constructs that are compassionate and uniting and built by women.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I feel, you know, the more I've probably interviewed about 70 or 80 women now, and the things that women are doing are basically all those things that have been broken are definitely being looked at. There's one group that I am, and I think it comes out of the States, called Singularity University,
Yeah,
that I've been
fantastic.
doing some stuff with here, and they are amazing. And their mission is to change 1 billion lives. And I love it. Like, stop this. I want to make my little small thing do. Like, let's just change everything.
Fully. Peter Diamandis, right? So they are so brilliant. And our whole mission, by the way, Jules, is 10,000 brands and 1 billion people. We want 1 billion people paying off their mobile bills with our technology. And
I love
what's
it.
interesting is when we looked at the 10,000 brands, what we've just built and we're launching in December is the Facebook buying engine where brands buy the ads. We've now built our self-serve engine, self-serve brand engine, which means we can have thousands of brands. So all of those brands that boycotted Facebook now have somewhere to go and can buy ads and buy campaigns through the system.
Now, talk to me a little bit, though, about the data and what you're doing with We Are 8, because I think we all have a fear now that if we're going to go into other areas that they're going to steal our data as well. What are you doing to offset that, I guess?
I mean, the reality is, Jules, the ship sailed. All our data is out there, and
everywhere.
And when we did a lot of research around it, and people don't mind giving up their data. What people do want is respect. They want to be valued. They want to be paid. They want to know what's happening to their data. So
that transparency, I think, is really important. It's shocking when you hear that Facebook has gone and sold 500 million names and you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
There was no discussion with me about that.
Yeah, it's transparency and control. In fact, we made a decision. So we collect a lot of data as people are on our platform, but we use it solely for the purpose of helping you make more money and make more impact. So we made a decision that we're not going to go and buy third-party data and all these other data sets behind your back. And we're only going to use information you tell us with the knowledge that it's going to be used for your good, which is what the 8 is, by the way.
Uh, okay. So with what's going on in the States at the moment, and for anyone who's watching, today is the day that we are assuming we're going to find out who the next president is. One of the things that has been really, really shocking, particularly watching some of the documentaries on YouTube and on Netflix, are about the manipulation that's being done by those political parties without us knowing it. So, that we're getting these kind of feeds of information that, yes, we do want things that interest us, but we want it to be even-handed. So how are you going to manage that with We Are 8?
So the filter bubbles, we're not a social platform yet.
Right, okay.
Yet.
Yep.
But, it'd be really interesting if we ended up reversing into it. We do have inside the app is your wallet. We do have a community feed, which is interestingly uniting a lot of people. But so we're not really having to handle we collect a lot of data, but we're not having to, we're using it for your best interests always to get you money.
Right.
So we're completely transparent about the money we make, about how your data is used. It's transparency, Jules. I mean, the social...
I was actually... Yeah, as you were saying that, I was thinking transparency, I think, is it. That's the way I feel that the media has made a big mistake by not innovating over the last few years, is this lack of transparency. And so we just get fed things that they think that we want rather than giving us what we actually do want, and which is why on-demand video channels, I think, have worked so well, because you can go in and choose what you want. Although when they start using their algorithms to feed you things again, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
I really hate that kind of, maybe
Do
it's just me though.
It's amazing though. The algorithms aren't perfect because they're taking the data behind our backs. What's really fascinating, because we're working with a whole lot of AI PhDs out of Columbia and Harvard, actually, who are building our algorithms. When you work with zero-party data and people actually, zero-party is when it's I'm giving it to you or I'm selling it to you, I'm giving it to you freely. When you work with that, when people give you something, you get the right information back. So you've got permission to give them information back because they're telling you something in the first place. So there's this really interesting conversation. They're not suddenly springing something on you.
No, go on.
Yeah, they're not tracking behind your back and springing something from left field. It's like, holy shit, I bought that pair of shoes last week. Don't spring something on me that you think I want now. Even Google get their algorithm wrong because it's all scraped. And the next evolution.
Yeah, right. And of course, if Google asked me, if we were being asked to fill out a questionnaire to say what sort of things would you like in your feed, it would be such a different situation.
Yeah.
And we'd be happy if, there's the odd glitch, but really this, as you say, lack of transparency and just feeding you stuff and also distorting things. I mean, I'm shocked by what's been happening politically using social platforms.
There's an amazing woman, Carol Cadwallader, out of the UK, who's got a fantastic TED talk on how Facebook manipulated the whole political system and destroyed the democracy in the UK.
I think I've seen it. Was she a journalist?
Yes. She's fabulous.
I think she's done a documentary on Netflix as well now about that.
Wow.
But I remember her going down about the, wasn't there a whole lot of sort of hysteria in some areas around Turkish people coming to live there, and it was all proven.
It was one of them.
She proved that it was absolute rubbish.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so they target specific people, and that's what we've seen with voting, and Facebook is used to target people in political ways. And so her whole argument was that they destroyed our democracy, which they have. And so all of this is happening, Jules, behind the scenes. The ones that control the data, Facebook, Google, Amazon, they're all controlled by very few guys, men.
Yes.
And there's no women there's no women at the table here, and despite any government outcome, it's these corporations that really have the control. So we need other brands to step up, and the money and muscle of brands with the voices of the people to really say no more.
And also to have a woman at the helm, exactly as you say, because what the ultimate irony is that Facebook has been absolutely powered by women. I mean, there is no doubt at all. The mums jumped on it, then the women jumped on it. It is our platform. I mean, I'm not saying, and so is Instagram, I would say, is the other one. But yet, though, they are run, and I'd never thought about this before you said it, by men who are making the decisions about something that women are kind of populating.
For sure, Jules. I mean, women have powered their entire wealth, and yet the men have controlled the algorithms that decide
no representation. Yeah.
How many people see your post when you post it on Instagram or on Facebook? They control that. So they completely suppress and control the entire population. How many people see your post, when they see it, all of that. And for this Facebook boycott really not to have worked, Facebook said, we will continue to do whatever we want and let whoever we want post, even if it's Nazi shocking content. What we've realized is they will continue to do terrible things and enable terrible things.
So we've got to tell those brands how much that we want them to get off and get onto a platform like We Are 8 that will support us, where it's much more transparent. We have much more control. And Facebook can, I mean, I love it for the connection, but I hate that manipulation.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the same for everyone.
Yeah. And we're not saying get off Facebook to people. We're just saying spend 5 minutes a day, get paid, and help end child food poverty or help support the climate.